Hello, I'm Sally Taylor. Welcome to South Today. In tonight's programme, more than 20,000 people stopped under anti-terrorism laws, but not one conviction. Is legislation designed to protect us being used properly?
What we've got is a culture that until you are proven otherwise, you're a potential terrorist.
Also in tonight's programme, how a white supremacist found guilty of planning bomb attacks was caught by pure chance. The motorists who fought off speeding convictions because the paperwork was wrong. Could there be hundreds like them?
I'm Ben Moore on an archaeological dig in Silchester where they've uncovered a town that's been lost for 2,000 years.
The use of anti-terror laws to stop and search people on the streets of the South has seen a dramatic increase, according to figures obtained by South Today. Despite stopping thousands of people between April 2007 and March 2008, Hampshire, Sussex, Dorset and Thames Valley Police didn't make a single terrorism-related arrest as a result. Using powers under the Terrorism Act, Hampshire Police stopped 3,400 people, more than 12 times the number they were stopping in 2004-2005. In Sussex, police stopped over 1,700 people. 4 years earlier, it was just 4. Now compare that with Greater Manchester Police, where the so-called Section 44 powers were used only 185 times. The man responsible for overseeing how police use anti-terror legislation said it needs to be used when there are specific threats.
Section 44 is of use when there is a known threat to protect iconic places and to protect iconic events. It's a poor tool of general counter-terrorism policing. Nobody has been prosecuted successfully for a terrorism offence after being stopped and searched under Section 44.
Well, Hampshire Police has now suspended the powers but doesn't rule out using them again. Sussex Police blamed the rise on the 7/7 London terror attacks and a Labour Party conference in Brighton. Our reporter Steve Humphrey has spoken to one man who was stopped there.
Two people have found themselves on the wrong end of the anti-terror laws, Linda and John Catt, who live in Brighton. They've been involved in demonstrations outside of this Brighton Arms factory and outside of a Labour Party conference. Both have been stopped and searched under Section 44 of the Terrorism Act.
The most unlikely terrorist on the planet. I mean, it's a comedy, it's a tragedy, it's a comedy.
They were driving in London when they were stopped in July 2005. They later discovered their van registration number was put on a database after the arms factory demonstrations. And then, in September 2005, John was stopped as he walked on his own towards the Labour Party conference in Brighton.
And they made it quite emphatic that under the Terrorist Act, I was a suspect. They were concerned, I think, that I would protest and be, in their minds, with no grounds whatsoever, be a nuisance.
I feel that the police are all too often using the Terrorism Act as a means of harassment and intimidation of law-abiding citizens.
The Independent Police Complaints Commission later ruled that the stop and search carried out on John was unlawful. Meanwhile, Sussex Police says it has improved the way it uses its anti-terrorism powers.
It is a necessary tool for officers to be able to stop people if we have places where people congregate, places which could be a target for terrorism, and transport and infrastructure which needs protecting. So we do need those enhanced powers.
But civil liberties groups continue to question the legislation.
Section 44 gives the police an astonishingly broad power to stop and search anyone without suspicion. And the result of this is that it's been massively overused, and we're now discovering from these statistics it doesn't actually help the police in catching terrorists.
And back in Brighton, Linda and John Catt are waiting to see if the anti-terrorism laws will be used at the next Labour Party conference in the city. Steve Humphrey, BBC South Today, Brighton.
So where and why are people being stopped? Well, in Surrey, figures rose steadily from 2003 to 2007 to a high of over 2,700. Police say it was down to the high alert level after the 7/7 bombings and increased searches near Heathrow and Gatwick, which are close, of course, to Surrey's border. Hampshire saw two high points in 2005 during the Trafalgar Fleet Review, and then look, in 2007 following the Glasgow airport bombings, when again the threat level went up. Sussex blamed a big rise in 2005 on the Labour Party conference and say another big rise in 2007 was also in response to Glasgow and terrorism court cases with Sussex links going on at the time. Dorset, however, has much lower figures, even though it hosts party conferences. The number of searches goes up, but by a much lower level compared to other forces, when Labour was in Bournemouth in 2003 and 2007.